What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Before this video starts, I just wanted to remind you that I am hosting a giveaway at 3,000 subscribers for this AK Aquamarine Revenge in factory new condition, $120 value. To enter, all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed and leave a comment down below. I'll be picking the winner as soon as we hit 3,000 subscribers.
In today's video, we are going to be going over exactly how to buy knives, and this also applies to gloves and skins, and how to get the absolute best deal for your money whenever you are buying skins and knives in CS2. Before we even start looking at knives, there are two things that you need to consider. Do you want to buy a knife in order to have a play skin in order to play with that knife and keep it in your inventory for the foreseeable future? Or do you want to buy a knife in order to hopefully trade with or maybe even flip? Now, the reason it is important to make this distinction before you start looking for knives is because the two categories actually have completely different criteria. The first situation we are going to be looking at is if you are wanting to buy a knife in order to trade or flip, or if you're looking to buy it as an investment. What you want to do in this case is go to your preferred marketplace website. I personally suggest using either Buff, GamerPay, or CS Float. In today's video, we are going to be using CS Float because I feel like it is the most user friendly and all of the information is very easy to understand. So when you get on your marketplace website, it should look something similar to this, and all you want to do is click on the market tab. Most, if not all, trading websites have a market or a marketplace tab up at the top. You just want to click on that. And then from here, all you want to do is actually adjust the filters. So there are filters on the left side of the screen. And again, on most marketplace websites, the filters will be on the left side of the screen. And there are just a few things that you need to do. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure that we are only seeing knives. So I think if you just type knife in the search tab and you click on that, it will only show you knives. The next thing that you want to do is set your price range. So for me, my price range would probably be something from maybe $80 to $250. Now that we have our item type in our price range, the next very important thing is actually the wear. The reason I mentioned before it is important to make the distinction between having a knife that you want to trade or sell and having a knife that you want to play with is mainly because of the wear and because of stat track. If you want to sell or trade a knife, it is extremely hard to do so if that knife is in well-worn or battle-scarred condition, or if it is a stat track knife. For example, the stat track Huntsman Knight in battle-scarred condition would be a really bad skin to pick up. Now, if you wanted the skin just as a play skin, that is completely fine. But if you want the skin to trade or flip, it is definitely not something to buy, because on knives, stat track is actually not sought after, and people will actually actively avoid knives that have stat track on them, because a lot of the time people do not like these scratched in numbers on the knife itself. And obviously battle scarred is a really bad condition. Well worn is even worse if you're looking to sell a skin. If you have a well worn stat track knife, you might sit on it for a month or maybe even 2 months before you are actually able to sell it. But again, it is important to make the distinction, because if you just want a knife to play with in the game and you don't mind if it is stat track, if it is well worn, if it's battle scarred, then you can find really good deals on knives, because obviously people are selling their knives for cheaper because they want to sell them quickly. As we can see here, if we look at the latest sales for this exact type of Huntsman, one sold 7 months, 8 months, and 10 months ago, and that is all of these sales. So if you were to buy this knife right now and put it up for sale, it probably wouldn't sell for at least a month, but maybe 3 to 4 months. Today's video is brought to you by Clash.gg. Clash is a website with lots of different game modes like roulette, cases, mines, and most notably case battles, where you can battle other players for their skins. They have a ton of different ways to deposit, as you can see, and by using code DNB you get a 5% deposit bonus. And once you're done playing, there's no shortage of withdrawal options to fit your needs. Plus, Clash has a huge variety of skins available to withdraw right now. Check out Clash.gg and be sure to use code DNB for a 5% bonus when depositing. Alternatively, however, if we look at this gut knife Marble Fade in factory new condition, this will actually be a really good knife to buy, because not only is it on a discount right now, but it is a factory new condition knife, and the finish is very sought after. Obviously, the gut knife isn't the most sought after knife, but within our price range, this would be a pretty good knife to buy. And also, what is important is how often it sells if you are looking to flip it. So if we look at the latest sales on this knife, we can see that it sells actually really often. Just yesterday, 3 of these exact knives sold. So in your filters, you basically just want to set from factory new to field tested condition, like so, which if you want to put in the exact numbers, it is 0 to 0.38 float. So now that we have the float checked off, the last and final thing to do is basically just make sure that we're not seeing any stat track knives, because we don't want any stat track knives in order to flip. So you just want to click on special and click on normal right here. On other websites, you might have to exclude stat track, but on CS Float, you just click on normal and it will show you only normal knives. Now on this page, pretty much every single knife would be really good to buy, except for one small caveat. Basically, it is to not buy knives with special patterns. If you are looking to sell or flip a skin, obviously you want a skin that is super liquid that can sell very often. Although I would not recommend a couple of finishes, and the most important one is actually the case hardened. I would never recommend to buy a case hardened skin in order to flip or sell or trade with, because they are so incredibly specific and you need to find a incredibly specific person in order to buy it. As we can see here, this knife looks like an extremely good buy because it is 7% off, it is in field tested condition, and it is not stat track. But if we look at it, we can see it actually does not have a lot of blue on it, and this knife would be actually extremely hard to sell. And again, another important factor to look at is the latest sales. If we look at the latest sales for the classic knife case hardened, we see that they do sell, but they don't sell very frequently. 1 day ago, 6 days ago, and then there were 2 1 week ago. So I would recommend to steer away from case hardened skins, and maybe even other skins with float caps, like for example the crimson webs, because the webs on crimson web skins actually make a big difference in price. And if you accidentally buy a crimson web skin with not good webs, you might be sitting on that knife for a long time. So pretty much most knives on this page would be really good investments. For example, this Falchion Tiger Tooth, the Bowie Tiger Tooth, this Bayonet Urban Masked in minimal wear would be actually a pretty good pickup. And as long as it meets the criteria, these knives on this page will actually be pretty good to purchase. And again, if you just want a knife to play with and you don't want to actually trade or flip your knife, you just want a cool play skin knife, what you can do is pretty much disregard all of these filters. Obviously, if you don't like how stat track looks on a knife, you can just leave that out. But if you don't mind and you just look at exclusively stat track knives, you can find really good deals on knives that would normally be expensive, because stat track knives more often than not have a pretty big discount, because obviously they are harder to sell. So for example, you could get these Shadow Daggers Gamma Doppler in factory new condition, and because they are stat track, because they have the numbers on the back side, they actually go for a lot cheaper than the non-stat track version in most cases. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure to leave a like and a comment down below. It really does help me a lot and it motivates me a ton. It also helps put this video into the algorithm so more people can see it. Also, YouTube tells me that up to 90% of people watching right now are not subscribed, so if you just checked and you are not, make sure to hit that button. Also, make sure to turn on bell notifications so that you never miss another upload. Thank you guys so much for the support recently, and I'll see you in the next one.